Hello, welcome everyone. Please become comfortable in your seat or where you're standing. We are getting started. Thank you so much for your patience. I have a little bit of housekeeping to share with you, and that is, I've already mentioned it a little bit, we have a Mullen-infused mint water. And Mullen has antiviral benefits, not a substitute for medical advice. So, one thing that we do at our events, especially our food as medicine events, is try to have ingredients that are immunity boosting. And we're still in the pandemic, so we wanted to make sure that we featured dishes that are good, high in vitamin C and antioxidants, as well as other lung health benefits. Another housekeeping agenda is make sure when you leave, you get a free gift sponsored by Mount Wachusett Community College. We have some snake plants and some jade plants that the students have grown. And if you're not aware of the snake plant, it has benefits for the environment. So they help detox the air, and you can use them indoor in your home, and also, well, if you're in a tropical climate, out in your garden. And I'd like to introduce our sponsor, Senior Director of External Affairs, Trisha Pistone.
Thank you, Priscilla. She was calling me. She said, "Are you close?" And I was in the parking lot. I was late because I work at the hospital, and the importance of food. We were feeding our caregivers today and tomorrow, and so we were serving barbecue, and I said, I'm not going to eat at the hospital because I know last year the food was so fabulous at your annual meeting. I'm going to hold my appetite till now. I know I have like 2 minutes on the agenda, but I just want to say, first and foremost, I'm just so happy to be here, and certainly to share a podium tonight with Congressman McGovern, and I congratulated him earlier, and I just want to congratulate him in front of all of you for just such a successful White House conference on hunger that just wrapped up. And it has been, 50 years since there has been a national stage in Spotlight on hunger, which I imagine you'll be speaking in a lot more detail. But what was amazing was not only did he elevate this at a national and probably international level, but he spotlighted his own district, and specifically here in our region, in Leominster and in Fitchburg. And just back a few weeks ago, he brought Secretary Becerra here to Leominster, to the Doyle Center, and we were able to spotlight a food as medicine initiative that we have started at our cancer center just up the road here. And Dr. Dixon, the president and CEO of UMass, was able to speak at that. But what was really exciting to me was that we had our cancer center director, we had Dr. Dixon, and right next to them was Priscilla. And we've also been supportive of the Food as Medicine initiative, which actually you introduced me to the whole concept when I started at the hospital a year and a half ago. And I'm just so proud of you and your mom for, even in the last year, how far you have brought this. And we are really excited to be able to, the funding that, why we're a sponsor, we have determination on need funding, which was the result of basically a public donation that the hospital is required to do when it builds a large capital project. So in 2020, Health Alliance launched a construction project for the new emergency department in Leominster and required that we put $2.4 million out into our local communities. And SproutChange and Germinemos was one of the primary recipients of those funds, and received 2 years of funding, sort of at once. It was a little delayed due to COVID. But tonight I'm very excited, and Priscilla, if you want to come up, to present them with a big check. The real check actually is in the mail, but it is good. It is good for $63,696 to continue their program. For another year of funding focused on the No Dig Garden and teaching programs here in Fitchburg, but for the whole region to come and celebrate. So again, so proud of you and the initiative, and we're happy to support. So
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you so much. Many of you know that I've been doing this joint programming with my mom, founder of Germinemos, and I'll have her say hello to you so that you all know that she's here. She's been doing this work for 40 years, teaching sprouted foods, and we're also very grateful to have as tonight's caterer, Laudis, our sister, or my mom's daughter. We're really, really grateful. The Laudis especially catered this. I told her the theme was Germinemos and SproutChange, keep it healthy and sprouted and green. And so thank you for that, Laudis. I want to thank the elected officials as well as the offices of elected officials represented this evening, and we have included our special guest speaker, Congressman McGovern, and his regional director, Eladia. We also have representation from Senator Elizabeth Warren with Senator Ed Markey with David. I'm sorry about that. We have someone new that's representing Senator Elizabeth Warren in lieu of Nyana, but I haven't met them yet. But when they arrive, they will let us know. And we have also former Berlin Library trustee, Charlene. So we're very grateful to have our local elected officials here speaking with us. As Tricia mentioned, we have programming here in Fitchburg. We've also done programming in Clinton and also Zoom programming, and as well as a lot of our residents are throughout all of North Central Mass. And our beneficiaries include Sterling, Berlin, Leominster, Fitchburg, Clinton, and the bordering towns. So we're very grateful to have such wide representation of the region. I'd like to welcome to the floor our special guest speaker, Congressman Jim McGovern, who has been a champion, as you all know, on food security initiatives. And also, as Tricia mentioned, the reason we finally had this second White House conference on hunger, nutrition, and health. Thank you so much, Congressman McGovern.
So first of all, let me thank Priscilla, and let me say how honored I was to meet your mom, Maria. Thank you, and Laudis, thank you for the incredible spread. I feel healthy already, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And Tricia, thank you for the check, and it's great to see you again. And so many friends. David, who used to work with me, is now working with Senator Markey, doing an incredible job, and just to be in this beautiful museum with people who are all dedicated to good. So let me again say thank you to SproutChange for all of your incredible work in the North Central region to promote sustainable agriculture, to alleviate diet-related diseases, to address hunger, which is sad, I'm sad to say that is a real problem in this country. There's not a single congressional district in America that is hunger-free. And we live in the richest country in the history of the world, and we have close to 35 million Americans who don't know where the next meal is going to come from. I'm ashamed of that reality. I think we all should be. And I tell people all the time that hunger is a political condition because we know what to do to fix it. We just don't have the political will. And when I come to events like this, I feel we are building the political will. I want to thank you to the incredible sponsors who make all this work possible. UMass Memorial Clinton Hospital, Growing Places, New View, and the Northeast Organic Farming Association, just to name a few. I mean, the investments in this are worth every single penny. SproutChange is teaching us all that a stronger food system is one that prioritizes land stewardship. The work that Priscilla and others have done to educate the community is incredible, and you are true leaders in sustainable agriculture education. Sustainable methods in SproutChange's gardens are the leading edge of innovative farming practices. And by promoting soil health through no-dig, or otherwise known as no-till, cultivation and organic methods, and by emphasizing fresh fruits and vegetables and herbs for local consumption, SproutChange demonstrates the power of food. And that movement is growing, I'm happy to say. This past August, as I traveled around my congressional district on my annual farm tour, which I do every year, I saw some of these same methods across Massachusetts. At each stop, farmers were excited to share stories about their latest experiments with alternative methods or new cultivars. Each understood the role they played in a bigger picture. It really does matter that we empower farmers and gardeners to be our best allies in fighting climate change. It matters that we understand that agriculture and ecology are inseparable. And it matters that we recognize how local food systems take direct aim at food insecurity and create opportunities for new farmers. And in addition to all of that, SproutChange and their partners recognize something essential, that when we're talking about food as medicine, it matters how we produce our food. Through the work I've been doing, I've been learning all these new concepts. I hear a lot about food sovereignty, right? People want more control over what they put in their bodies. They want to know how their food is grown and where it comes from. And that movement continues to grow. SproutChange is in the forefront of all of this. But by supporting local farmers who are sustainably growing real food, we're taking direct aim at hunger and diet-related disease. It has taken a long time for some folks to realize it, but when we talk about ending hunger, it's not just about the quantity of calories, it's about the quality too. There are direct links between soil health and nutritional value of the food produced in that soil. And of course, we in this room know the power of food in making us healthier. The partnerships that have formed in this region between the organizations here today are helping to improve health outcomes. Your leadership and this work is a model that should be uplifted and scaled up to reach people across Massachusetts and across the country. So we're at a critical moment. So last week, as was mentioned, President Biden put ending hunger and reducing diet-related diseases at the forefront of our national agenda. We haven't had a president do that, Democrat or Republican, in my lifetime. The strategy released by the Biden-Harris administration lays out how we, as a nation, can improve food access and affordability, and how we can better integrate nutrition and health. And it calls for a healthcare system that addresses the nutritional needs of all people. If any of us were asked to design a healthcare system from scratch, it wouldn't be the one we have, which is, the emphasis is heavy on if you need quadruple bypass surgery, we're the place to come. But it's not heavy on how we prevent you from getting to that point. So more and more attention needs to be placed to reorient our priorities in our healthcare system toward prevention. So what comes next is important. How we're going to implement policies to achieve these goals. Some of the items that the strategy will require action by Congress or by the administration, but others can be accomplished by partnerships like the one that has formed in North Central to improve health outcomes, reduce disparities, and help make good local food more accessible. When I was growing up, my grandmother always used to say to me, "An apple a day keeps the doctor away." It would annoy me. I wish she was still alive to say, "You were right." But the bottom line is, we know that the work that is being done here today and the collaboration with our healthcare institutions can make a real difference in improving the quality of life for everybody. And I say to people this, if you're not moved by improving the lives of our fellow citizens, if you're not moved by wanting to make sure that people have healthier, more productive lives, and all you care about is the bottom line, the costs, then you should be excited about what's happening here today. Because at the end of the day, the status quo, hunger, bad diets, cost us deeply. Kids who go to school hungry don't learn. Workers who are food insecure, or who don't have access to basic nutrition, are not as productive in the workplace. And you can talk to any doctor in America or in the world about the number of avoidable healthcare costs directly associated with diet or with lack of access to nutritious food. So I am grateful for the work that SproutChange and everyone in this room is doing to show firsthand how strategic partnerships really can make a community healthier and more food secure. One of the things that came out of this conference in Washington, again, the first conference on this topic since 1969. There was a time when we used to think big, right? In 1969 was the year we put somebody on the moon, right? This is, again, fast forward all these years, now we're actually talking about food and nutrition again. But if we get this right, I mean, we can make a real difference. And this conference is looking for models to uplift. We don't need to reinvent the wheel. You've invented the wheel here. We need to provide you more resources so you can produce more wheels, we can put on more vehicles so that we can drive forward. So we know what to do. And I think by making these issues a priority, it means that the federal government will be there. We will be a resource. We will be more resources to complement what Tricia has already provided you, but we'll be wind at your back. I mean, you are the future. You are who we need to follow. And so I look forward to continuing to work with all of you and my colleagues in government. I just saw Representative Meg Kilcoyne come in, who I think is an incredible representative in the state legislature. But we will work together at the federal, state, and local level with nonprofits, with the business community, with our healthcare sector, with our schools to make a real difference on all of this. So I'm grateful to be included in this wonderful gathering. And Priscilla, thank you for inviting me. And thank you for, well, you and your mother, you said, thank you for being born. I mean, really, seriously. I mean, we have a lot to do, and we need leaders in our community who are going to pick up the baton and lead in these important areas. You're showing us how to get it done. You're providing us a pathway forward, and I'm really happy to be here today. My first time in this museum, and it's really quite beautiful. I can't think of a more appropriate place to have this discussion, but please know how much respect and admiration I have for you and all the great work that you and all the people here are doing. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, we're really, really grateful. Thank you, Congressman McGovern, and welcome, Representative Meg Kilcoyne. Thank you for joining us. I am here because of the work that my mom has done the last 40 years doing her grassroots workshops on sprouting. And before that, our grandparents who had a bakery in Dominican Republic and did everything from scratch the old-fashioned way when bread took like a whole week to make. So I'm really grateful for these talents that have been passed down to us, us kids. And I'm really grateful today I witnessed this talent also being passed down to our youth in the community and young adults at Mount Wachusett Community College. And I did not plan this part, but I just wanted to highlight that it just brought me so much joy to see these college students doing microgreens, growing native plants, propagating plants, experimenting in their no-till garden. It's just, and this is courtesy to Professor George and Professor Heather. Thank you so much for what you've been doing, supporting your community college students. We talk a lot about this. We talk a lot about this at NOFA Mass, and for those who are not aware, NOFA Mass is the Northeast Organic Farming Association about succession planning. And I sent an email to Jocelyn, our executive director at NOFA Mass, because I think collaborating more with your university would be such a blessing for us to continue the work that so many pioneers and so many legacy holders have already done, and just continue that with our young adults and the future change makers. So thank you so much for what you've done. To continue our programming, the goal of tonight is to network. So we have, again, our sponsors, our advisors, local elected officials, national representation. So from local to national representation, and a lot of the work that we do is community building, and community building is done hand in hand with our policymakers. And so we're really, really grateful to have this opportunity for all of you to meet each other, because all of you have implemented so much hard work and dedication and support to get us to where we are today. So the goal of this funding that Germinemos, my mom's organization, and SproutChange received was to do programming to support disabled, elderly, women, children, and minorities. That was our focus. Thanks to the initial seed funding that we received from Health Alliance Clinton Hospital, our work has been a magnet to support additional funding. And we first started off with about 5 organizations sponsoring us, and that included NOFAMAS, New View Communities, and Growing Places. And today we also have office space sponsored by, as well as mentorship and advising from Worcester Polytechnic Institute, Worcester State University. Additional sponsors have been the Legal Food Hub, who helped us with all our contracts. Pro bono legal counsel to make sure that we were, on point with what we were doing, as well as with Robinson Cole Law Firm in Boston. And so this is a slide that represents the total value of the contributions we received in the last 2 years, which is almost $500,000. And so we're really, really grateful to the community for showing up. And I'm sure this value is probably a little bit higher because we have received additional in-kind contributions. This is our core team, so you'll meet many of them this evening. Our 4 priority areas, I know it was a very lofty goal. We tried to address social determinants of health, which means at our workshops provide language translation, child care provision, as well as transportation stipends, and look at health system strengthening, so really supporting the work of the hospital at the community level. We did programming on mental health. We also did programming on chronic diseases, think of heart disease, lung disease, or disorders, as well as I believe we did like pain relief, like for the nervous system. And as well as we did healthy aging programming at an adult day center. And we did also healthy aging programming at a library. So we did it both at a medical facility as well as in the community. Our impact today has been 32 workshops in a less than 2-year period. So we were extremely busy, hence why some of you only heard from me for work purposes. And thank you for being so graceful with me. And we did programming on sprouting, which my mom did, since that's her expertise, on food as medicine, which I held, which is more of my expertise, healthy aging, no-dig gardening, when I did this with Ruben, our co-educator, as well, and also soil health special expert. And so that was something new that we developed this year. Is we took the original no-dig garden program and made it even more specialized, looking at soil health. So thank you to NOFAMAS for supporting that work, as well as MicroQuest. And we did microgreens workshops and water and pressure bath canning. So the idea is to empower our local community members how to reclaim their health in accessible and realistic ways. And so, and also thinking about food security and climate action. And here are some pictures of Wellness Wednesday featuring my mom's programming at Bigelow Free Public Library in Clinton. And we had some highlighted testimonials. So we had so much positive feedback. One of them is, they loved hearing information about how food fixes health problems. So it was really just transferable knowledge. We had the No Dig Garden Workshop series, and here are some pictures. So the garden, we treated it like an experiment. So we were on purpose bad parents. So we really wanted to test the model of if we can water it the least possible and also be able to grow food. And so, and also rebuild the soil. So we took a garden bed that had traditional square foot gardening and converted it to a no-dig garden bed and taught the whole season regenerative ways of, from building the garden bed from scratch with different lasagna layers to companion planting to mitigate pest controls and to support one another. Then natural pest controls, and we made different types of fertilizers as well as liquid compost. And then we did garden to table. So it's full circle food security and climate action. As I mentioned, we did, my mom mostly did the Active Life, the adult day center programming. And so this was like always booked. So we always had like 25 to 30 participants, and it was really sweet. And they just loved the food and loved the programming. And we had the microgreens workshops, and the food was delicious. And so it was wonderful to have our educator, Cherie, provide education on microgreens, as well as provide education on canning. And so again, this is that full loop of like how to grow your food, no matter your season, so sprouting, microgreens in the garden, as well as how to like preserve your food. This is information to stay connected, so we can put this up later. Many of you know how to stay connected with us. And now it's time for networking, and we're going to be having some dedicated group photos, so if you're not being taken aside to take a group photo or being photographed as in a candid situation, speaking with your lovely colleagues and new friends. But really this time now for the rest of the evening until 7:30 is for you all to get to know each other, because the work that you have all done has really supported this work that Germinemos and SproutChange has done in the community the last 2 years. And we want to thank you. And so this event was really intentionally about you and the work that we've done, and to have that time to come together. Before we do the networking, I just want to highlight, if the team from NOFAMAS could stand, please, I just want everyone to know, because NOFAMAS has been around for 40 plus years. And, they were our first sponsor, so that second to the hospital, NOFAMAS was there. Yes, we're going to cover soil tests, and then this year they like 100 times their sponsorship. So, so we're really, really grateful for this continued support. Thank you. So let's get started.